Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins is one of the biggest rivalries going inside of WWE right now. For so long, Randy Orton and Seth Rollins fought side by side inside of the Authority, where basically Triple H had a hand-picked series of guys where everybody had their place. And basically Randy Orton was the superstar of today, and Seth Rollins was the superstar of the future. That was capped off mostly by Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank briefcase at the June pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins was underneath Randy Orton, and he knew that he needed to get to that spotlight. So many times big matches came up, whether if it was Monday Night Raw or pay-per-view fights, where basically Triple H was picking Randy Orton ahead of Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins wanted to prove to Triple H and Stephanie that he was the man for the job of the Authority. So many times he fell back and watched Randy Orton get beat by John Cena, whether if it was at the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view or other events that would have led to the demise of John Cena and the rise of the Authority. And finally, it all came down to blows on Monday Night Raw, where Randy Orton was given a match against Seth Rollins, where it was supposed to be all laid out on the table. They would have a match to find out who the better man is. And at the end, they were supposed to shake hands and walk to the back and fight the good fight at Survivor Series, with the Authority going up against Team Cena. Seth Rollins, from there, took over leadership of the Authority, with the delivering blows led to two curb stomps, one on top of the steel steps outside of the ring, another one on top of the announce table, where Stephanie demanded to take out Randy Orton because she was tired of the bickering, and even though it went through Triple H, it seemed that Stephanie was the one that really put the exclamation point on, let's put this out of our misery. It's time to go with Rollins. He seems to be the guy for now. So for there, they restacked the Authority with Seth Rollins, Corporate Kane, and Big Show as their big team. Randy Orton was the man on the outs. We kept thinking that he would make his return, either to come back and fight aside John Cena and join Team Cena to put the Authority out of their misery. We didn't get that, so we were waiting maybe for a Royal Rumble return, maybe for a return on a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown, somewhere out of the blue, to hit the big RKO onto Seth Rollins. Now, Randy Orton made the save when basically the Authority was beating down on Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback at the start of the Fastlane pay-per-view. He came out to make the save, and ended up being that he didn't get the RKO that night. He ended up sort of joining the Authority once again as the Authority drew him back in. And then the plan was finally figured out that basically Orton was suckering Rollins and the rest of the guys in, that he would be able to deliver his blow, calling his shot on Monday Night Raw, hitting the big RKO, putting Seth Rollins through the announce table with the RKO. Now, it was a very, very cool moment. Randy Orton really looked like a big star. But honestly, in my mind, now we have 16 days counting down until WrestleMania. We got 2 more editions of Monday Night Raw. I'm not sure where this one comes from this upcoming Monday, but we got the big Los Angeles go-home show. This match hasn't even been named yet, but we know that this is the match that's going to be happening. There's no other combination of guys that Orton and Rollins could face, and there's nobody else that we want to see them fight each other. And this match is going to be just what the Authority thought. Randy Orton is the superstar of today. Seth Rollins is the superstar of tomorrow. This is going to be a big exclamation point on there. My biggest thought going into this is we haven't seen Randy Orton, in the WWE in about 6 months. Is Randy Orton really coming back only to lose to Seth Rollins? But Seth Rollins needs that push. In backstage and on paper, to get him up to where he's supposed to be. Seth Rollins at the January Royal Rumble was in a great match, one of the best matches that I've seen in WWE in a long time, with Brock Lesnar and John Cena. It was a jaw-dropping experience watching that match, where it looked like Rollins had a shot to win the championship in that match a few times. Brock Lesnar was taken out on the outside. They said that he was suffering from broken ribs, and at one point it looked like he was going to get carted off by paramedics, as Cena and Rollins kept the match going. Rollins hit the Phoenix Plunge off of the top rope. Probably the first time we've seen this match used inside of WWE. It didn't look like it got used to perfection. It looked more like a headbutt to the nuts from Rollins to John Cena, but it almost got the job done. It almost got the 3 count where Rollins got his hands raised. So Rollins to me sort of looks like the odd man out. I'm really not seeing a cash in happening at WrestleMania. I know that the big main event is Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar. In this match, you know, they've got it on contract that Brock Lesnar is due to appear at the WrestleMania 31 Monday Night Raw go-home show, or not the go-home show, the after show, I guess you can say, the big one, where everybody gets every last bit of everything out of their system because they're going home the next day. Very little amount of people I know go to SmackDown after that, but you know, it'd be really weird to see Brock win the championship and then have a WrestleMania, you know, end with the heel getting the championship only to show up on Raw and lose the championship there to another heel. That would be a very, very weird situation to be put in. But also, this is a very, very weird situation with the guy going into WrestleMania 31 as the champion. Brock Lesnar doesn't have a contract after that Raw, and he's going to be leaving us more than likely to go to UFC or go to Bellator, or maybe just try and stay in WWE, but try and use WWE against UFC to try and try and get a better deal on the table for the future. Randy versus Seth, in my book, is probably going to be the best wrestling match of the night. I'm really behind Randy Orton. I'm not as behind with him after the RKO as I was. There's a lot of times with the Randy Orton, honestly, to me, is sort of really boring. We see him wrestle the same match night in and night out, and you pop in any DVD from any of his championship runs or championship matches on pay-per-view, whether if it's against Cena or whether it's against anybody else, and they all seem to have the same feel, just sometimes they have different stipulations to go along with them. In this match, I am picking Rollins. I think that is the guy that's going to be able to pull this match out, but I want to see where they go from here. On Monday Night Raw, is it going to be Orton's turn to take the beatdown where Rollins looks strong, or is he going to be able to get his hands on Rollins again, where it looks like Randy is just looking too strong for Rollins, and Rollins pulls the upset at WrestleMania? But I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm picking Seth to get the win, and I'm hoping that we can see something big from him in that Money in the Bank that he's been carrying around since June, that honestly, to me, with Lesnar not being inside of WWE all that much, especially after disappearing after Night of Champions and not showing up again until the Royal Rumble, not having a chance to actually use that. Maybe we should have seen some vignettes, Crash Holly style, of Seth Rollins, you know, creeping around in the woods as Brock Lesnar is hunting and trying to sneak up on him with a referee. I don't know, a little bit of comedy to add to it, but at least we would have saw something with Rollins where he would have had a chance to use that. Maybe he should have even stepped up to the plate and started treating the Money in the Bank the briefcase like it was his own championship, and maybe defending it, seeing how there is no champion inside WWE. But I don't know. A lot of people liked it that Lesnar was the champ even when he wasn't around. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, so to me, Seth should have been looked at as in a greater light. But we'll go on to a break, and then we'll come back with the next match, Taker versus Bray.